Well, early in 1971, Jim Chapman, who was then president of West Liberty State College, had a vision at that time to try to bring Young Life and the message of Christ to teenagers in the Wheeling area. So he contacted Reed Carpenter in Pittsburgh, who was then the area director for Pittsburgh, and brought Reed down, and they had a meeting with Glenn Straub and decided that this would be a good opportunity to bring Young Life to the Wheeling area. And I was the one who was tabbed to come down and be the first presence of Young Life here in Wheeling, and started that in the fall of 1971. So that whole year of 1971 was spent hanging out, working with kids after school, going to practices, and meeting various kids along the way. Late that spring of 1972, took Bill McCoy and a number of other young kids up to Pittsburgh in a van to Danny Adderholt's Young Life Club in Baldwin to introduce them to what we were really trying to talk about with what Young Life would really look like. As a result of that summer, I think 8 or 10 the kids that I had met along the way from Triadelphia decided to go to Saranac Village in upstate New York, Young Life's camp, where they had the time of their lives, met Jesus, and came back, and we began our club work in the fall of 1972. First Young Life Club in 72 in September, we had maybe, I think, 20 kids, and by 3 weeks later, the end of the month, there were 150. And that was the beginning of Young Life in Wheeling.
Hi, I'm Bill McCoy. I was involved in the first Young Life group in Wheeling at Triadelphia High School. Harry George was the leader who got things rolling. Dan Adderholt was over in St. Clairsville, and those leaders really laid a great foundation in my life in the Christian faith.
I graduated from University of Pittsburgh and volunteered to be the staff person for Young Life that would locate in the greater Wheeling area. And in fact, we moved to St. Clairsville, Ohio. And it was really quite moving when we had our first meeting there at the home of Paul and Marge Keppel, and Ruth and Andy Hislop were there, and some other folks. They were teary-eyed when we first got together and said that they'd been praying for several years for Young Life to come to their community. These were great folks, and they were tremendously supportive to a brand new married couple, and Kathy and I.
Young Life came to St. Clairsville my senior year of high school. I remember Danny hanging around, and his wife Kathy was my speech teacher. Early that fall, they asked us to attend a meeting, a club meeting. When we tried to find out what it was all about, they said, "Come and see."